Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'll wait for anyone to show up because it looks like people are just looking at it at their leisure after the live video. So hello, everyone. Thank you for returning or visiting us for the first time. I am Nneka King. I am your host here at King's Legacy Group, Wednesdays, not for now. So it's just me tonight. She's at a sleepover at a friend's house. They saw each other at the drive-through graduation this past week. So they were in to spend time together, so I let her go. It's a gap between the youth and the mature adult to achieve generational wealth. Providing the tools and resources to understanding, like today we have our Wednesday video. We also have Sunday videos. Sundays are geared towards the youth, and like today for Wednesday, geared towards us adults. We are striving to inform people, give them vital financial wellness that will help you make good money decisions and that will empower you forever in your life, because knowledge is power. So let's go over the disclaimer. The information we share is based on our own opinions, experiences, practices, and insight into the strategies suitable to our financial wellness for our family. We are not financial advisors, and our videos are for educational and entertainment purposes to confirm or expand your understanding of the knowledge on any topics covered on this channel. Always remember to make smart decisions that suit your own needs and do your own research. Okay, reminders. King's Legacy Group is helping you understand that when you learn, you grow. I'm going to ask this every single video. Please click like, share, and make a comment. Any video that you watch, please at least like and share. That helps us to build our platform and be able to reach more people that need this information. Even if you don't feel that you need it, I'm sure you know someone else that does. It only takes one click to hit subscribe and the bell notification. It only takes one time after watching one of our videos on any platform. That's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm even on LinkedIn, but that's not. Hit the thumbs up button, share, make a comment if you want to, subscribe, and select the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time we go live or post a video, a pre-recorded video. This helps support this informational channel for our community. Okay? In future videos, again, I will share my screen as I stated before, but I'm in the process of checking on some pricing for computers that will give me better quality. I don't know why this quality is so low on this laptop, because it's not that old. But either way, I'm going to find another one, and that's when I'll start sharing my screen so that you could see what it is I'm doing, and I'll be able to share with you additional information so that you can gain a clear knowledge. So please be patient with us here at King's Legacy Group. We are still a work in process, getting things together. I mean, my checklist is a full page every day on things that I'm doing, what I need to do, and what I need to schedule to do at a later date. Everything is planned out, but every day I'm going through my checklist and checking off when I complete something new. So a recap of last video, which was last Wednesday, because remember, the video information is linked from Sunday to Sunday for the youth and Wednesday to Wednesday for the adults. Eventually, both platforms information will meet up, but that's down the line because it's going to take time to keep training our youth with life skills and financial literacy. Last Wednesday, I mentioned that you should have written down all your bills. It's 5, because those 5 tiers. Tier 1 would be your first priority, house bills and food. Tier 2 would be your second priority, responsibility of bills. Tier 3 would consist of savings, retirement, and investing. Tier 4 would be your entertainment and memberships. And tier 5 would be business expenses. If you have a business, then that's going to be your last tier as far as determining, assessing your debt before you can jump into making a budget. So with this information of you assessing your bills and the level of priority, you should have been able to decide on what you could trim down of that as opposed to paying full price. But again, that's what you have to assess based on your personal needs. But if you want to get out of this rut of struggling to pay, a clear plan of your one of the things I had suggested on last week is to split your bills in half. If you could make biweekly payments, then that leaves you more accessible money in your accounts that you could work with and do other things with, as opposed to being broke paycheck to paycheck, or having more money come out at one time, split it up into 2 payments, and you have more money to work with. And you will see that that will eliminate, well, not eliminate, but at least decrease some of the stress that you may have living paycheck to paycheck. Because we need to get out of this cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, being broke paycheck to paycheck. That's not a way to live. So once you're able to do that, then it's time to start on a budget. I'm going to be posting a budget that you can print out on the website. I was trying to have it done before I went live tonight. I have a little free time because I'm not going work tomorrow for my first business. I'm going to stay home and get some things done for this business so that I could move on and finish some other tasks I need to complete. So remember the 50-30-20 rule that I mentioned in the last 2 videos. This is a rule of thumb guideline for allocating your budget accordingly. 50% goes toward your financial goals. Now, I also mentioned in the last video that usually a budget plan normally would consist of your savings and investing being towards the bottom of the list, before you allocate your money. But with the way things are now, the mindset that you need to start having is paying yourself first. You make sure you pay yourself first before you pay anybody else. You take care of your savings and your investments first. That's in yourself. That's ensuring else. Requested your 3 credit bureaus credit reports, your Equifax, TransUnion, and your Experian credit reports. It is best to do that by mail by submitting a copy of your valid state ID and proof of residence. If the address on the ID and the proof of residence doesn't match, then you're going to have to send in 2 proofs of residence and 1 valid state ID. So I hope that you all started that process last week, because next week would be 2 weeks after I mentioned it initially. So next week we are going over step by step what we should be assessing on our credit reports before we start doing any disputing or anything else. The main reason that I have established my discipline, but my mindset is back on track, and that is being disciplined. Right now, my discipline level is so strong. It's because I am foreseeing my goals that I know I can achieve in rebuilding my personal credit score, my worthiness, um, establishing my business credit for both business. I have two businesses. Securing my retirement portfolio, because I only have like 25 years left before it's time for me to retire. Yeah. So although I got started late, it's never too late, but I can still put a plan in place so that I could have a substantial retirement portfolio. I'm also guaranteeing my leverage and my borrowing power and my controlling buying power. So any decisions I need to make personally or for my businesses, I would have established a reputable record of activities to prove my credit worthiness. So just like buying a car, even though my next car I'm going to buy is going to be in my business name so that I could write it off, I can go in and say, I don't need to put any money down. My credit speaks for itself. And understanding what contract I'm getting into with the vehicle. But that's also another video. So let's start it with the content for this week. I actually had are working on doing the things that they saw me mention in previous videos. So what I intended on doing this week, I'm actually going to put off until next week, so they can get caught up. So I'm willing to do that because I really want everyone to be on the same page as we're moving forward video to video, because the information that I share for a reason. It's an order of importance. So I'm just going to be blunt to the point, as I will be forever. We need to organize our life and stop making excuses and being lazy. I know some of the things that you have heard me mention these past few weeks since we got started with the first live video are things that you are probably doing now, hopefully. If not, I'm sure you were able to learn one or two things that you should implement now. And also gain the interest to stick it out with King's Legacy and learn everything else that I'm going to bring forth for us to master financial literacy. This is about improving our lives. And it only takes us putting action to the plan. And it's simple. We just follow the plan. Have the discipline, have the commitment, follow the plan, and execute it. That's it. But the first thing, again, we got to organize our life and get our shit together. It ain't nobody's fault but yours. It ain't nobody's fault but mine. I'm being accountable for it now. I'm owning up to I messed up my own situation. Blame on jobs or whatever. It's all on me. So I had to get to the point where I had to make a decision. I had to get off my ass and stop making excuses and stop being lazy. Because it ain't going to fix itself. I had to fix it. So we need to identify the problems in your life. Well, you need to identify the problems in your life. That's the first thing you need to do. Decide on the objectives once you identify the problems, create a plan, make a commitment, and put action to plan. And be okay if you need to readjust and reevaluate to fit your needs. That's okay. The point is you're able to identify things that need to be adjusted based on your circumstances, and you just adjust the plan, but still stay on track for the final goal. So I mentioned in the last video also about doing the Experian Boost app. If you haven't done that yet, don't know why, it's going to take you less than 10 minutes. Just have your banking information ready so that the Experian Boost app can link up with your bank system, your banking system, and that's going to increase your score every time you make a bill payment automatically. I had posted on TikTok and Instagram when I first started. My score was like 520 something, 528, and that was in March. So March, May, June, no, it was February. So mid-February up until now, my score done increased by 620 to 628 or 627, whatever I posted on the last Instagram or TikTok. But just those things of me staying focused, implementing my discipline, sticking to the plan with at a time, that's almost 100 points. Come on, y'all. No multiplication, no division, no algebra, no trigonometry, no geometry. It's 1 + 1 = 2. Point A to point Z. That's all it is. But I'm going to get back my A1 credit because I got things to do. And I can't do it until I fix my shit. I own how my shit stink. That's on me. So you got to make a decision to do the same. Through automatic bill pay. Stop remembering to pay your bills. Stop taking the chance on being late paying your bills, accumulating interest rate, accumulating late fees. Stop. Just set it up on automatic bill pay. And if you don't have a bank account right now, but if you don't have a bank account, then set the automatic reminder on your phone, on your computer, on your Alexa, whatever equipment you have, use it. And remind yourself 5 days prior to the due date, because once you sit down and do a budget, after you done assessed all your bills and know what you're working with, then set a plan to pay it on time. Get rid of the stress. It doesn't make any sense for us to be stressing when the problem is so ill you. Then you won't have to worry about having or making no generational wealth because you're going to be dead sooner than you need to. So create an automated budget, create an automated investment plan for retirement and wealth building, plan to reduce and eliminate negative debt using the snowball effect. That means taking care of your small and work your way up to the big. Work what you can now until you can get to the working with of 680. And then once you reach 680, go for the 750 and above. If you follow the plan that I'm going to be sharing, you'll get there in 6 months to a year. It took time for you to screw it up. It's going to take time for you to fix it. So I need for you to be committed. I'm here to be that account because it's not hard, but the support is needed. So that's why King's Legacy Group is here. It's soon to come. We quick to pay our cable bill over our life insurance premium. We quick to let that life insurance premium fall short. But we'll keep a cable bill, an internet bill, and all these memberships and subscriptions that we don't need. We want to keep all that as opposed to family security. So when we do the video for the breakdown of the insurance, yes, it will be broken down to its sales, why you need to have it, and the level of insurance that you need. Is all going to be broken down. If you have not downloaded the Self-Lender app or looked at the Self-Lender website, I hope that you will do that for yourself. It's a straightforward savings plan. You get the money back that you put in, but during the process, you're building your credit. And when you get to the point of making, I don't remember how many on-time payments, they'll offer you a Self-Lender credit card, which again, they report to the credit bureaus of your on-time. There's more of a benefit doing the Self-Lender than doing a regular savings account at a brick and mortar bank. Because you don't get nothing from the savings at a brick and mortar bank other than probably 1 to 3% at the end of the year. If you don't want to download it, just go to the website and just read everything. And I also provide the referral code in the description box after every video. It's at the bottom of the page in the description window. So we need to focus on putting continuous actions to plan for positive net worth. We need to get to a positive net worth, which is the value and pass down to our family, which is generational wealth. But keep in mind, as you're going through this process of learning becoming financially literate and generating financial wellness and generational wealth, if you don't teach the family that you leaving this wealth to, the same thing that you're learning here, that was a waste of time. You just should have made your money, blew it before you died, and see the value in retaining that wealth to pass down to the next generation. So we got to do better. The adults that are on here, this is the time for us to correct our bad behaviors in relationship with money. But during this process, while you're learning the financial literacy tools that you should have had before, but again, better late than never, we got to make sure our kids and other family members gain the same knowledge for that continued generational wealth. And we got to start doing our estate planning. Stop assuming you don't have nothing. Because it don't make any sense for you to pass away, don't have anything in place, a will, a trust, power of attorney, if you get ill and become incapacitated. Now, if you pass away and you own a house and you have kids, it don't make no sense for your kids have to go through probate, or it doesn't make any sense for another family member to take over your kids and abuse their inheritance. Because you didn't take 30 minutes to sit down and plan out who's going to take care of your kids when something happened to you, who's going to manage their financial portfolio until they get of age, and understanding what you need to have in place to make sure whoever watching them is being watched. It takes 30 minutes to set up an estate plan. It takes 15 to 20 minutes to actually do a will. But a will is not all you need. But all of that is going to be explained in the estate planning video from A to Z on everything you need to know about estate planning and what each document is, what its purpose is, and how it works when you are. Just because you blood family don't mean you family, and don't mean you can be trusted. It is what it is, because that's just human nature. So put things in place. Make sure things are taken care of in the event something happened to you. Or even just when you don't have a will or anything else in place, and your family members fight over your personal belongings, and they didn't even visit you when you were alive, but yet they want what you had when you're dead and gone. You got your kids fighting over things. You may have a child that valued and appreciated music, and you have a record collection, and then you got more than one fighting over their collection when it should go to your other child. And they, just like Prince did. And that just didn't make no damn sense for that rich man not to have no darn estate plan. That was just stupid. So we're going to talk about all that later. I can go on and on. So I'm feeling a little loopy, and my stomach is playing the salsa. So that's another reason why I was glad that the people that reached out to me asked me to hold back on bringing up some of the stuff that I had intended on talking about today. So it actually worked out. Take a nap, a little pill compartment in my car and a pill compartment in my purse. And I forgot that I had took my pills at home before I left this morning in my other compartment. And then when I got in the car and had some lunch, I took my pills again. So yeah, that was an extra dosage of blood pressure medicine and diabetes medicine. So yeah, I'm not feeling too well. So I'm just gonna get through some stuff, and I will see you all next week. So the next assignment for next Wednesday, everything should be taken care of as far as you assessing your bills, your debt responsibilities, creating a budget. And I'm going to show you what a budget should look like on next Wednesday. But after we do the budget, give you an example of how to work out a budget. The next step is to start setting up your emergency fund. And what you take are your primary bills, which are your living expenses, and your priority of debt that you have to pay every month. You add those up for 1 month and then multiply by 3, because we want to be able to save a 3-month, a 6-month, and a 1-year emergency fund. So just to get started, you need to take that calculation and multiply it by 3, and that's your first goal for your emergency fund. And then once you reach the 3-month goal, then you can work on your 6-month goal. Once you reach your 6-month goal, then you're going to strive for your 1-year goal. Now, after 1 year, after following the tools and the resources that I provide on this channel, you should be at a level of financial security to where your budget and your financial planning, your objectives are going to change, because what you needed at a lower income level is going to be different than what you strive to do at a higher income level. Not necessarily high, but higher than where you were before, because you have made progress in growing with the financial literacy and the strategies that you put in place. You have elevated yourself to the next level to where you're still growing. So yes, that informs your initial objectives, because once you reach those objectives, then you set in place other objectives that you have to reach, other goals that you have to reach. Now, once you have really gained financial security, a year or two, then your emergency fund should actually go up to a 2-year emergency fund. And just like I mentioned in the last video, when you reach your goals of your emergency funds, you don't stop. You change the direction of the emergency fund. Instead of doing the regular savings account for your 3, 6 months, and year, when you reach your year goal of saving a year's worth of emergency fund, then your continued emergency fund will transition into like stock or an insurance plan. And we're going to get into all that, the direction of where making the money grow, making the money that you have grow, surpassing what you initially. Some personal information of my own. My second round of PPP. Let me explain the rules first of how that works. As a business owner, I got my second round of PPP, even though I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to apply because of all these other knuckleheads that have been applying for PPPs and getting them with fraudulent information. Then the Fed stepped in and closed, well, not closed, but audited all the paperwork, all the files, all the, the applications and other documents that people use to apply. Start their investigation so they can start locking people up and finding people. But I did my own PPP. I wasn't getting caught up in that. I wasn't paying nobody no $3,000-$5,000 to process my PPP. That's just being lazy because of fear of not knowing. When the only thing they had to do was go onto the website and apply with the correct information. So there are people that submitted other people applications with fraudulent information, which made no sense for them to be getting $20,000 when you ain't did no $100,000 work or had a $100,000 revenue business. But anyway, I did my own with my correct numbers from my taxes. So all the information adds up, it matches. So when you are granted a PPP, whether it be first or second round, there are rules you have to follow when you get that loan. You must spend the loan on any eligible expenses that include payroll or wages, employee benefits, state and local taxes, interest on a mortgage, rent, utilities, covered operation expenses, supplier costs, which are essential items for the operation, and work protection expenses. So 60% of the loan amount has to go towards payroll and wages. And the other 40% goes towards everything else that I mentioned. And you have 8 weeks to disperse that money accordingly. And then you can apply for 100% PPP forgiveness loan. So the strategy that I have in place for my financial security, because even though I'm going to be paying myself from the loan amount from week for the next 8 weeks, of course, I still have my full-time business income, which I average like $1,000 a week. So this PPP loan money that I'm going to be paying myself every week for the next 8 weeks, I've already made a plan on how I'm going to utilize it to increase my financial security. So on week 1, I'm going to, well, I've been a 1099 as a independent contractor for the past 5 years. So I decided, based on everything I've been learning since I've been going through this journey of financial literacy, I decided to go ahead and turn my 1099 Schedule C income into a LLC business. And that has allowed me to think outside the box on things, on other things that I wanted, that I'm going to do to expand the business, well, both businesses. So this is one of the things I had to put in place to start the process. So the loan is going to be deposited into a new business account for the LLC. Each week, I'm going to take $600 and pay myself on a company check. Now, keep in mind, the things that I'm going to be mentioning that I'm going to be doing with the money is not going to be coming directly from that checking account showing it was for that transaction. I'm going to pay myself the $600 and do what I want from that payroll check. So that way SBA has nothing to say about what I did with the money. They will only see that I paid myself with a payroll check this amount. It's none of their business what I did after that, because it's only about that I paid myself through a payroll check. And that other 40%, when I do things from that, it'll be for the business on the things that I mentioned earlier. So for week 1, I'm going to pay myself with a payroll check, open up both business accounts for my Legacy Rideshare and King's Legacy Group. I'm going to order the business checks and pay myself accordingly for my Legacy Rideshare, and for King's Legacy Group, then that will allow me to pay Kayla when she's officially hired. And anything else that's done will go through the business account if it's a business transaction. Regular savings account at Wells Fargo, put $100 into my credit union savings account, and I'm assist with when I want to buy extra stock, weekly deposits for each of my stocks. And I have like 15 stocks. So I allocate how much goes to each stock every week, which is anywhere between $5 to $20. The majority, well, not the majority, but like half or $5 a week. Another portion is $10 a week. And I only have like 2 or 3 of those 15 accounts that I do $20 a week. But sometimes if there's a spike in the market and I see that I need to buy some more of that stock, then for week 2, I'm going to open Kayla's Vanguard Roth RA account and put more money into my Roth IRA account, gas cards, to continue building my personal credit and start building my business credit. For week 3, again, pay myself I'm going to get life insurance on Kayla. I'm also going to buy some burial insurance. I'm going to update my will. Now, that's the only thing that I have is a will and a living power of attorney. Meaning if something medically happens to me, my oldest son will make the decision. But I'm going to do my complete estate plan, of which I already have my documents. I just have to insert my information that applies to me and create that. And then I'm going to take those documents to a lawyer to look them over, as opposed to paying a lawyer to draw the forms up and do everything. It's cheaper just to do it yourself and then pay a lawyer a small fee to just read it over and make sure everything is legit and have the lawyer notarize it. I'm going to start opening my business trade line accounts, which are called net 30s. I'm going to start again, pay myself, and from that money, I'm going to increase my Vanguard stock portfolio, meaning putting more money into the stocks I have or buy more stocks. And I am doing that with Vanguard. Out of the 3 top brokerage firms, Vanguard, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab, I'm choosing to do Vanguard with more than likely Fidelity. I want to use that investment account for my business only. It's not going to be in my business name, but anything that's accrued in the Fidelity account on stocks that I invest in or index funds I invest in, those are profits that are going to come into my company when I sell any after a year, because it's about long-term investment. I don't do short-term investment. I'm not a trader. So I won't make any moves until after a year of accumulating growth. So I'm going to increase my Vanguard. For example, I may already have 10 shares in a stock. Then I'm going to increase it to 20. I want to get to the point where I can have 100 shares per stock, so that in my year 2, my financial growth in the stock market will be awesome. So that'll be profits that I get from the stocks themselves and the dividends that I get from the companies when they pay out either monthly, quarterly, or twice a year or once a year. So I get double the bang for my investments, because of the 15 stocks that I have, I was strategic on what my portfolio would look like, as far as if I had any single stocks, and I'll explain all this later in another video. I may have chosen like 1 or 10 growth, but the majority of my portfolio are ETFs, which is, I'll briefly go over. ETF is a stock that has multiple companies. If, let's say, that pool consists of 12 companies or even 100 companies. Let's say 1 or 2 of those companies don't perform well. The ETF, the percentage that company has in the split than single stocks is less. It's a less risk and loss. So the majority of my portfolio does consist of ETFs. But I also have 2 stocks that are cannabis. I have 2 stocks that are REITs, which is real estate. Best thing I can do to explain REITs are, okay, Walmart. They don't own the building that they do business out of. They're paying rent to someone, to a company that owns that space. So dwellings, they have their own stock and they have good returns, and part of the requirement of having a REIT is guaranteed to have dividend yield. But again, I'm going to explain all that later when we go over long-term investments. I also have Webull and Stash onto Webull, and I was like, well, I'm just going to use. Well, I kept hearing people say Webull. So I'm like, okay, so I'm I'll, because not every brokerage company or platform sells all the same stocks. You may find one over here and not find it at another one. So I said, okay. So he sent me his referral code and I signed in, and I said, okay, I'll try it out. But once I got signed in, I was like, oh my God, I got such a headache. It is way too much going on Webull. I mean, it's exhausting. I even had to wait 7 days for my initial deposit to buy that I wanted. I was so frustrated because the stock that I wanted to buy at a certain share rate had gone up waiting them 7 days. I'm like, what the hell? And then once it was deposited, I couldn't understand what the hell I was doing to buy the stock. Once I bought it, didn't understand what the hell I was reading, where it showed me what I actually had. It's just only using Webull for one stock, and that's my crypto. I have crypto on Robinhood, which is done well. So I wanted to actually get another access to crypto for another person in my family. So I invested in that for them, for that to be there, physically do it right now, because they got some things to take care of with the IRS. So, but that has been such a disappointment with Webull. And Stash is the initial platform that I started with before I even found out about Robinhood. It helped me learn the basics in getting started and familiarize myself with how to maneuver the app, and general understanding of how the system works. So yes, Stash helped me with that. But once I really got into Robinhood and put 95% of my stock choices in Robinhood, I was going to dismiss Stash. I actually had sold everything out of it, and I was going to close it out once the money hit my account. But then I decided to keep it because I thought Robinhood had the custodial option so that I could start Kayla's stock account. But Robinhood doesn't offer that. So I end up staying with Stash and use that to start Kayla's custodial account. I bought one or two more stocks just to keep my activity current. And then I opened the custodial account for Kayla. It's her stock. It belongs to her. So I kept Stash for that reason only. But with the Vanguard accounts, when I do Kayla's custodial account, it'll be hers, but that's where I'm going to put the majority of her stock holdings with Vanguard. So, but even with Kayla's stash account, when and I have a video, we have a video of that where she initially signed up for that. It's on Instagram. I mean, Instagram and TikTok. And she started with $50, and I guess it's been about 2 months and some change. And she is set up for $5 a week to be automatically deposited into her stock. And right now she has like 170 some dollars. So actually she's only put in, when you add it up, she probably put in $65. Well, no, probably about $75. Between $75 and $85 so far. But right now her profits are $175. So again, people, even if $5, $50 down and $50 down and $5 a week for 2 months so far, come on, y'all. You're not getting no rate of return on that with money sitting in no bank. You're just not. And she's gonna, her automatic deposits are scheduled for every week, and she's not gonna touch that account until after a year. And at that point, she's gonna take out her profits, keep in her baseline and like 20% of the profits, but the other 80% of the profits she's gonna take out and do some other things with. She can buy more stock. She can put that money into her Vanguard account and grow that way more than the stash account. Or she can decide on what else she's gonna do with it. That'll be a discussion after a year and a day to avoid high capital gains tax. So yes, this 14-year-old girl is learning all this now. So when she hit 40, 45, she may want to retire because she should have a minimum of $500,000 by then, just from investing. It can't get any more simpler than that, y'all. And if I could pull the rest of my hair out from aging, Lord knows I would, because I'm just sick of myself that I didn't do this stuff when I was younger. I could slap the crap out myself. But I'm still gonna have something by the time I'm 65. Something better than nothing. I'm striving to at least have 250,000 by then, at minimum. So I got 25 years to grow to where I have at least 250,000. I'm sure it could probably be more, but that's just my minimum, my minimum threshold for me getting started too late with investing. Okay, this time is almost. So what I leave off at? Oh, still at week 4. So after I add more money to my investment accounts, I'm going to add money to my checking, my savings, and my business accounts. Week 5, after I pay myself, I'm going to open a bank business credit card. I'm going to apply for 2 more business trade line credits. I'm going to complete my product and development for my e-commerce on King's Legacy. And I'm going to apply for Discover a Capital One business credit card. Week 6, I'm going to, after I pay myself, I'm going to apply for additional net 30 trade lines. I want to have at least 10 business trade lines. And I'll explain all that when I'm discussing the business videos. because the way I want to grow both of my businesses, I'm going to need all the leverage I can get. I have to invest in a separate hard drive with a strong encryption. And again, what I pay myself has nothing to do with SBA on what I do after I pay myself with that money. As long as I pay myself with the company check, what I do with that money has no business of SBA. But this is the plan that I have set for my weekly payroll and other operational cost from this PPP loan. The point, if I pay myself, I'm going to put more money into my investment accounts to buy more shares. Again, my overall goal is to have a minimum of 100 shares per investment, per stock. That's my overall goal. Right now, I have anywhere from 5 shares to 50 shares. But my goal is to have at least 100 shares per stock, per investment. Now, the only one that I have a lot of, well, you can't call it shares, but in my crypto, yeah, I have a lot. Because when Dogecoin shot up a month ago, I put in like $300 throughout this year. I put in a total of like $300, which gave me like stock. So anyway, within the short period of time from me starting late February with my overall like $400 investment, I ended up with like in profit somewhere around there. I can't remember the exact number. So I took out like $800. So I done already made my money back that I put into it. I ain't lost nothing. And kept the rest in there, and it continued to grow. And I still have my weekly deposits going into that stock list, just like the other ones. So it's still growing. I'm still accumulating growth. That's the only stock that I treat as a short-term investment. The rest of them, I'm not touching until a year and a day to determine how I'm going to move my money around, or if I need to get rid of a stock and replace it with something else. And I have my list of my stocks that I want to, that I'm interested in as far as on Vanguard, not on Robinhood. I'm done with Robinhood. My portfolio on Robinhood is done. I'm not doing anything with that. But the other stock that I invest in for my Vanguard accounts, me and Kayla's, those are going to be indexes and ETFs. That's all I'm doing. So now the thing about Vanguard, for the index funds, between Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab, Vanguard, to invest in index funds, not the ETFs, you have to have a minimum of $3,000. But ETF, you can just buy the share. Like if the share is $23 for. So yeah, my strategy for Vanguard is totally different than my Robinhood and my Stash and my Webull. It's on a whole different level. So again, will be explained later on another video. So where did I leave off at? Oh, week 8. Again, pay myself put $300 into my personal checking, open another checking account, which this is going to be my low balance debit card. My preferred checking account that's with Wells Fargo, I'm going to stop even carrying that card around, because if there's ever an incident of identity theft because I'm using that card, using that card on a regular basis, and it gets stolen or whatever, or my account is hacked, I don't have to worry about all my main money disappearing. So I'm going to open another checking account with a different bank, which would be my credit union, and transfer funds to that account, and that'll be my low balance debit card. That'll be the only one I carry on me. All my other cards, my stock brokerage debit cards, my Wells Fargo debit card, my regular credit union debit card, they went ahead and issued a debit card for my savings account. But when I open the checking account, that'll be another card, and that will be my low balance card. That'll be the only one that I carry around, and it's going to be set at a limit. I would never exceed that to have that available funds for anyone to steal or through identity theft. So also, I'm going to spend the remaining 40% on rent, operating costs, supplier costs, and work protection expenses for business number business number 1. And then at that point, I'll be able to apply for the 100% loan forgiveness for the PPP, which means I don't have to pay anything back because I followed the instructions once I received the PPP, as long as I had proof of all that. So content covering on next Wednesday. We will be getting on this. No more delays, no more hold-ups. We will get to the point. I'm going to be discussing the power and showing the tools and strategies for the power of credit, how to strategically build personal and business credit, how to leverage your credit cards, how to leverage credit card points, how to leverage insurance. We got to start thinking outside the box on our insurance. Okay? On the following Wednesday, not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday from next week, I'm going to go over all the credit bureaus and the secondary credit companies. We're going to go over assessing your credit report, because by then, those of you that should have ordered your credit reports from last week should have them by then. And then we're going to show the order of applying for credit and go over business credit reports. Well, it's only one credit bureau for the business. So we're going to go over that. When we return on this upcoming Sunday for youth, we will continue teaching our youth life skills, financial literacy vocabulary, managing their new checking account, which they should have by then, because it will be 2 weeks since I first mentioned to parents to open your child a checking account of their own. And we're going to start talking about summer business. What business your child can start for this summer. And giving business ideas for the youth. So that's what's taking place this Sunday. So we have reached the end of the road. I hope that you found some value in the content shared today. So until next time, take care of yourselves and know that knowledge is the real power. I thank you. You all have a good evening. Bye.